Hi guys! So here I am driving in the car again with no one to talk to except for you, because everyone I could talk to on the phone is at work because they have jobs and they're productive members of society. So I decided to talk to you guys. Keep me occupied. At some point I may start swearing because I kind of thought I knew where I was going, but because I'm filming I don't have my map up, and so I might get lost. So if I start swearing it's just because I'm completely lost and don't know where I'm going. So I've had a couple of interesting things happen in the last few days that I thought I would share with you guys. The first one's a bit shit, so we'll get that out of the way first. So I wrote my blog post last week, I think it was last week, about there's nothing wrong with you. About people telling me that I don't have depression or anxiety and that I shouldn't be taking medication because clearly they know better than me. Totally coming from a place of caring and like stuff. In their mind's a good place, in my mind not so much. And they're probably quite lucky that it was me they were talking to, because I'm quite understanding. And if I'd been maybe someone else with depression or anxiety and they told me I didn't have it, I might have punched them in the face. But I didn't. So I think that whole thing that I wrote about is really interesting. People have this preconceived idea of what a depressed person is. A depressed person never laughs, they never smile, they're always depressed, they want to be depressed, they're lazy, they kind of just... I think the biggest thing is that people believe that depressed people want to be depressed. That for me is the biggest thing. So I don't understand why anyone would want to be depressed, and I don't understand why people think people would want to be depressed, because that's a bit retarded really. Because I can tell you now, it's not really very much fun to not want to get out of bed and to suffer from, anxiety attacks when you get into situations that make you anxious and all of that stuff. It's not fun. No one would choose that. I'm sure there are some people who wallow in their depression, but I still don't think that they're choosing it. I think that they just don't have the skills and tools available to them to get out of their depression. I've been doing a bit of reading about depression and drugs and stuff, so I'm equipped myself well to handle these people who are telling me that I don't have depression and don't be ridiculous. So I'm able to educate them, which I think is good, because I think education is the key to this whole issue, is that if people can try to understand better, then their tolerance levels will be higher. That's just my thinking. So in relation to that, I have had now a peripheral person in my life try to tell me that my depression makes me a bad parent. And that they are trying to use my depression against me as a weapon. That kind of upset me. Quite a lot, actually. Because, I'm already pretty hard on myself about my depression. It kind of goes hand in hand with having depression, that you kind of a bit hard on yourself that you've got it. So to have someone try and use that as a weapon to hurt me made me really sort of sad and angry at the same time, which is always a good combination. And to that person I would say, screw you, because I'm pretty sure with my rational mind, not my depressed mind, that I'm a good mum. And I think that the fact that I try my hardest and that I acknowledge when I've made mistakes, and that I know that my depression sometimes affects my moods and stuff, and I make compensations for that, and I talk to my kids about it, and I explain it to them, and I don't keep them in the dark, and I trust them with that information, and I trust that they will be able to handle that, and I trust that they are good kids. So I think all of that kind of makes me a good parent. I don't know, that's just my opinion, obviously. Some of you out there may have a different idea of what makes a good parent and what doesn't make a good parent. But I really don't think having depression versus not having depression has anything to do with good versus bad parent. I really don't. And I think that's a really naive way of looking at things. And I think it's a really outdated way of looking at things. And I think it's really judgmental, and you should get over yourself. That's just my 2 cents worth. I'm a bit passionate about this, in case you couldn't tell. So that's the bit shitty thing that happened in the last couple of days. And the other thing, which, depending on how you look at it, I suppose could be a bit shitty, is that I've been talking to a really awesome friend of mine, Millicent. Yes, I know it's a very old-fashioned name, but she's rocking it and making it awesome, so shh. She makes the name awesome. I've been talking to her a bit about, depression and anxiety and, some of my daily struggles and things. And she pointed out to me that a lot of my kind of symptoms are possibly also symptoms of ADHD. It's more specifically inattentive type ADHD, not the hyperactive type. So we've been considering for the last couple of days the possibility that I have ADHD, which I find fascinating because it's not really something that you hear a lot about. You don't hear a lot about girls, for a start, having ADHD. And yes, I'm a girl. I'm not a lady or a woman or any of that old stuff. I'm a girl, alright? Alright? Clinging to my youth. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, you don't hear a lot about girls having ADHD, and you don't really hear a lot about adults being diagnosed as adults. You hear, about adults having to deal with it who've been diagnosed as children, but you don't hear a lot about late diagnosis of ADHD. So I thought that might be really interesting for you guys to follow along with me and on my journey to find out whether I have ADHD and what that means and how that, can kind of account for some of the stuff in my life and maybe explain some of the stuff. And maybe my depression is not, as bad or whatever word you want to use as we thought. And maybe a lot of my symptoms are actually ADHD and I can stop taking my antidepressants. Dunno. So that's the journey that I'm about to embark on. And I wanted to share it with you guys because I thought it'd be interesting. If you don't think it's interesting, don't watch the videos. It's that easy, really, pretty much. So yeah. I'm saying again. I thought I'd stop doing that. So I'm going to go now because that's pretty much it for my post today. And it's starting to rain, so I probably should concentrate on the road because Perth drivers are like mogwais. They're adorable and cute and fuzzy, and then they get wet, and then they turn into gremlins, and have absolutely no idea how to drive. I mean, a lot of the time they don't know how to drive anyway, but when it's wet, they lose their shit, and completely forget any of the things they learnt about driving. So I'm going to go so I don't crash and die, because then we'll never find out if I've got ADHD, and that'd be terrible. So I will see you later. Bye.